Hello and welcome. Well, that worked exactly as I wanted it to. Stupid green screen. To another Solana tutorial. Haha. Well, that was the worst intro ever. Now you know how my flat looks. Today we're gonna talk about compressed NFTs. We're gonna find out what they actually look like on chain. We're gonna have a look at actual compressed NFTs. It's a real thing by now. Today's more like a high-level overview kind of a video, and we'll get into the technical details of how to actually develop compressed NFTs in a future video. How do we start this? Maybe we start with misconceptions. Let's start with misconceptions, something that people might get wrong about compressed NFTs on Solana. First misconception might be that compressed NFTs just compress the data of the NFTs. So you have some data and you compress it to make it smaller, and then you uncompress it to get the same data again. This is not how it works. It's not a compression algorithm. It's not like a zip archive where you put the data in, do something with it that it's less data, and then you can uncompress that to get the data back. That's not it. I mean, we could do something like that. The data of NFTs is often the same, and within a collection only changes like a little bit. So we could implement something like that. If we compress a single NFT, we could get maybe 10 to 20%. If we compress a collection, maybe, depending on how we do it, we could get up to maybe 50% compression rate, which, is like half price, but then still that doesn't really scale, not to the degree that we want to. And it also makes it harder to work with because we now need compute to uncompress, and it's just, it's just not as neat. So compressed NFTs are not that. They are not making the data smaller to use less data. The data is still the same. It's still a standard Metaplex NFT. A standard Metaplex NFT that follows the Metaplex NFT standard. Yes, exactly that. So that's misconception number one. Misconception number two, and that's actually a misconception I held myself until recently, is that the actual data needs to be stored off-chain somewhere. Because we talked about this in the Merkle tree video, where essentially you just store the Merkle root on chain and all the data needs to be somewhere off chain. But that's not actually strictly true. Because here's the thing, and now we get to the interesting part. With a new compressed NFT standard, we don't store the NFTs in the state, but we store it on the ledger. You can argue whether or not that's on chain now. It's not on-chain in the sense that you can access it, but it's on-chain in the sense of, given you have all the transactions on the Solana blockchain, you know what the NFTs are. I heard this first by Mert on a podcast with James and Nick. Shout out to those three guys. He said that essentially compressed NFTs don't use state as the storage, but the ledger. So let's have a look what that actually means. The difference between state and ledger, I want you to understand, because that's relevant for understanding compressed NFTs. Well, actually, is it really? No, but we want to understand because we're curious people and we want to learn. That's why I'm teaching you all of this stuff. Let's have a look. How do I best show you this? Should I grind myself an Andy address? Wow, that was quick. I'll take it. Grind myself another Andy. There we go. Because I love myself. If I Solana transfer one sol to this address, we will get the following transaction. Andy sent to the other Andy 1 sol. Okay, cool. This is still something that you should be able to follow. Now let's try and understand the difference between state and ledger. State is everything that is in the accounts. So basically in Solana, all of the state is in accounts. Remember how Tolly said Solana is the world's fastest or world's biggest state machine? And remember how we learned that all of the things that we store are in accounts? So all of the Solana state is in accounts. For instance, this Andy here is an account owned by the system program. And we know that each account holds some metadata, like which program owns it, how many Lamperts are there, in this case, 1 billion. 1 sol. Then there might be additional data if it's a program account, and then you can write stuff there. And that data, plus all the metadata, that's all state. That's all the stuff that the validators have in memory and that we can access from a Solana program, for instance. So our program can read the amount of lamperts that is in this account because it's in the Solana state. Program can read all the data, provided that we've passed in the account and whatnot, So all the stuff that we see here, that's all state. Executable flag, also part of the state. So with the state, we can say how many lamperts are in one account. What we cannot say from state is how did those lamperts get there? Who sent them there? This is only part of the ledger. So the ledger you can think of as the transaction history. The transaction itself, that's not stored on the blockchain, right? It's not in the state, but it is part of the blockchain still. If you have all of the transactions, then you can build the state again, because a transaction is nothing else than a state change. Or the other way around, a state change can only happen through a transaction. So this transaction, for instance, was just a system program transfer where I sent one sol from this account to this account. Hold on, I'm going to do it like this. The information that this Andy sent it to this Andy, that's not part of the state, but it is part of the ledger. So I hope now you understand what a Solana ledger is. This is a Solana ledger. No, the French company Ledger chose that name for a reason. But when I'm talking about ledger in this video, I don't mean the hardware wallet or the company that produces them. I mean the collection of all transactions. They make up the ledger of Solana. Because in a ledger, you write down what you spent and stuff, right? Wait, what's a ledger? A book or other collection of financial accounts. So yeah, we have financial accounts. Those ones, they hold financial information like how much sol is on there and tokens and stuff. So those are the accounts. And the book, I mean, the analogy here doesn't really fit that well, but the book of the changes, that's the ledger. In this ledger, you write down who sent what where and stuff. You write all those things down. That's in the ledger. And then the final state, like the total, that's what's stored on the accounts. Since we're talking about NFTs, let me give you another example. Maybe you understand it better then. Let's check out NFTs. This one, for instance, the one that hangs on my wall. This NFT consists of several accounts. As you know, because we went through all of them in a previous video, the Metaplex non-compressed Metaplex standard. This account that we see here is the token mint, and all of that stuff is part of the state. And then we can even see the metadata that's also all on chain. That's state that is on chain. We can even find the URI and the name in the state. And we could find the owner of the NFT in the state. This is a bit more difficult to query, that one, because it's not directly linked. But also as part of the state, there exists a token account with this address that has the owner this, which holds one of that token. And that's also part of the state. We can find out who the owner of an NFT is just by reading the state, because that is encoded in the accounts. What we cannot find out from state is who minted that NFT. That information is available because the Solana blockchain is public, so we can look that up. It's just that we need to look at past transactions. So we need to look in the ledger. We won't find it in state. Solscan even conveniently gives us the mint transaction. It was minted on February 13th. What? This is just an update instruction. That's not the actual mint. Okay, so Solscan got that confused. And see, there we see it's very difficult to find the mint transaction because essentially we would need to go through all of the transactions that there are. We see finding out the mint transaction just with an explorer like this is difficult. We would need an indexer that essentially goes through the ledger and stores that information separately so we can quickly query it. There are indexes like that, and we will need indexes like that for compressed NFTs. Yeah, because like that, I will not find that transaction. I will not find the mint. So it's not easy for us to find out who minted it. It's just not, because it's not in the state. So I hope that by now the difference between state and ledger is somewhat clear. If it's not yet, I have another analogy for you. Hold on. I mean, the intersection between Solana developers and live loopers is probably literally one person, me. But still, this is my Loopstation. So everything that I say is being recorded. right? So I say stuff, microphone goes in there, that goes into my computer, OBS records it. So you can think of that as the ledger. If you want to find anything that I said, you have to essentially go through the recording and search for it. That's the ledger in my analogy. Now, the state for my Loopstation would be if I put it in there. So for instance, let me put it in the state, 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 yeah, put it in the state, let's put it in the state, okay, put it in the state, put it in the state, yeah, put it in the state. So that's the state. That's something that I can access whenever I want. Put it in the state. That's the state. And the ledger is everything that I put on top, like what I say now. It's just the ledger. But the persistent part, like the thing that I can access, is here. Put it in the state. Huh? Does that make sense at all? Or is that analogy just for myself? So because I'm a looper? I don't know. Yeah. Put it in the state. What? Put it in the state. Say. Put it in the state. We gonna. Put it in the state. 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 Put it in the state.Ut it in the state. Put 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 it in the state. Okay. Put it in the state. Put it in the state. We need a beat.
Click. There we go. Now we have bass.
Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Just put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Put it in the ledger. Oh man, this is so fun. I get distracted easily. And if you don't know how it works with those NFTs, have you heard about compressing them down to a tree? It is quite easy and it's made for you and me. That compression, it is simple, you will see. We just put all the data in a Merkle tree and then you get it. That's a compressed NFT. Put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Yeah, put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Oh babe, just put it in the ledger. If I just want one, yeah baby, that's alright. Even 10,000 might still be fine, but I compress them just so I can mint a million.
Put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't. Yep. Put it in the ledger. Yep.
Just put it in the ledger. Looping is so much fun, it's ridiculous. Am I getting distracted of something? Maybe.
You know,
There's nothing that can go wrong, cause the NFTs are in the L1 of Solana. Maybe they're not in the state, but the ledger is also great. If one indexer is down, you just go to the next, because all of them have all of the transactions, and there's only one thing that's better than sex: the compression standard of Metaplex. Can I not hit the wrong button? So don't
put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger.
Did I get sidetracked or something? I mean, I literally just wanted to show you how to
put it in the state.
Yeah. I hope that by now you get the difference between state and ledger. My neighbors certainly do. They know how to.
Put it in the ledger.
I can never stop. If I start once, I can never stop. Anyway, we got stuff to do. Thank you, Loopstation, for making this point. Fix my green screen again. So, where were we? We were talking about something. What was that? Compressed NFTs, right? So let's have a look at an actual compressed NFT. Because so far I was just finding an excuse to loop, I guess. Let's have a look at solandy.sol. This guy, he has a compressed NFT. 14 hours ago, I got a drip. Shout out to drip.house. They send out a free NFT every week. You want to be part of that. And if you're not yet, you can leave me a comment. The first 3 people who leave me a comment shall get a drip invite code, because I still have a few. But before we look at that in the wallet, let's look at that on chain, because this is the transaction that sent me that compressed NFT. We see the previous ones were always like create account, you know, as you usually do, create account, then create associated account, create metadata account, create master edition. So that's the usual steps that you would go through for regular NFT mint, Metaplex standard. And then for the compressed NFT, it's just a mint to collection V1. So let's have a look at that. The bubblegum program, we've read about this. That's the one by Metaplex, NFT compression program. It's called bubblegum. There, bubblegum compressed Metaplex NFTs. And essentially there's just one instruction to mint the NFT. However, the tree needs to already exist. So there is already an account, Merkle tree there. This one in this case, that has to already be created beforehand, obviously. So let's have a look. Drip paid 1.23 Sol for this Merkle tree, such that it can mint all of the NFTs into it. Like mine. There, we also have the log wrapper is what it's called here. The no op program, no operation. Last time I called it Noop. and I didn't know what that stands for. It's no operation, no op program. And this is just used such that this data here makes its way to the ledger, because we don't store it in state, we don't write it to an account, but we want to have it persisted, so it's in this in-between state. Is it on-chain? Well, not really, but it is kind of on the log of the chain, right? It's kind of in the logs, it's in the ledger. It's not fully off-chain. You can build an off-chain representation then. Coming back to my initial misconception that I had myself, I thought that somewhere off-chain is all the data stored. Well, the indexer will build it given those instruction data that it has from the no-op program, because it goes through the transactions, because otherwise how should they know that something has updated? Well, they need to check all the transactions and then they can update their state accordingly. So there can be a completely off-chain representation of the data, and there will be in the indexers, but you can still build all of that state given all of the transactions of Solana. So given the Solana ledger, you can still create that off-chain state. So we still only depend on Solana to keep our data, just that it's not accessible at any time anymore. We need to go through all transactions. That's the difference. Let's see if the Explorer displays this differently. Account compression program is used. Token metadata program is also used. Drip has their own program. Yeah, and there we have it once again. That's the instruction data that the indexer will read such that it can build its state. So essentially the NFT that we upload, the data makes its way into here really, because we don't put it in the state, we put it in the ledger, put it in the state, we put it in the ledger, don't put it in the state, we put it in the ledger, don't put it in the state, because we put it in the ledger. That's stuck in my head now for the next 2 weeks. Although that doesn't look like a lot of data actually. Oh, wait. There's one time the noob called and then we have the noob again. And there's more data. Okay, that looks more like it. That looks more like it. That seems to be all of the NFT data append. So here we append that data. Yes, okay. That's what we saw also last time in the video about Merkle trees. When we append something, it's just written as a CPI into the no-op program, because, I mean, we could write it down here in the logs or somewhere, but the logs, that's like nothing that indexes usually query, right? Because it's not, the logs are not relevant for state transitions. CPIs are relevant for state transition, because depending on what data I call the CPI with, the program will perform a different operation, right? So indexers will want to store that data and look at it, what the program has been called with. That's why we do that. That's why we call the no-op program, such that the indexers actually take that data and definitely remember it. So in a way, what we see here is our compressed NFT. That's the data for the NFT. Actually, can we decode that somehow? That would be interesting. What's standing there actually? Let me do this again. I think it look cooler like this. That seems cryptic. Okay, I still don't know enough about compressed NFTs that I know what data that actually is and that. And it's okay to not know everything from the start. I also need to be compassionate with myself. I don't need to understand everything from the top. Neither do you. I know I wish as a teacher that I would understand everything right away, and I don't. I'm sorry. I'm more of an entertainer than an educator, right? At least in this video. The important thing is that we make progress. With every video, we learn something. And then eventually we understand compressed NFTs. Today we learned what the difference between ledger and state is. That's already enough for a video, right? I even made a song about it, damn it. Right, so how do we now actually see our NFT? I mean, I got a compressed NFT, but so what? Because it's not in the state. It's not an account that I can just look at and see, oh, that's the data that's in that account. It's somewhere in the Merkle tree. And the data representation, you know, is probably some of those. The Solandy address is on a very old ledger. Now my question is, which of those has my Solandy wallet? It's not the Solana branded one, that's a different one. Okay, according to my notes and memory, this one. Oh, pin. Yes. Yes, that was it. Always those pins, eh? There, connect hardware wallet. Oh, all of a sudden Phantom also lets me select derivation paths. Okay, that was the address that holds my solandy.sol. Let's check the NFTs, because there are a bunch of them that people donated. Oh look, that's the first drip. And here in the drip season 1, we find all of the 22 remaining drip NFTs. However, the compressed one is not here. To be able to see the compressed one, I need to have Phantom Beta. And with code DRIP, we can get that. Ethereum and Polygon support. Yeah, you do what you need to do. I just want compressed NFTs. I have too many NFTs, damn it. I don't even know what I'm searching for. Skateboard. Oh, yes, there it is. Green. I have a green one. Drip. That's it. There are 11,000 unique holders of this. So view on SolScan. What does that do? This has 0 Sol and is not even an account. So this is probably just the asset ID of the NFT, but not really an address. So what we need now is an indexer. Just a hint if you want to send me NFTs. To make it way harder for me to find the NFTs I'm looking for, send them to solandy.sol. Haven't said that in a while. Yeah, I won't stop here. I want to see this now. I want to somehow find out what that means and how I can get the actual metadata information for that NFT. So we do have code examples here for the read APIs, interacting with the Metaplex Digital Asset RPC API. And interacting with the API, we would just do post requests and then do a method like get assets by owner. And this JavaScript package here will just make those RPC requests simpler. Let's do that. Okay, let's get it. Let's get it. Oh, that even has all the setup methods as well, like how to create NFTs. I just want to read for now. Today I'm happy with reading. Next time we'll look at actually creating and minting them. So that's what we want to do. A connection wrapper, but for mainnet, ideally. Yeah, that hides all of the get asset proof, get asset by owner. But how do we get it for mainnet now? After sending the transaction, we get back an asset ID. The asset ID is a PDA of bubblegum. It's the equivalent of a token address. Let's assume that's an asset ID, which it might be, no idea. And let's assume I can just replace DevNet with mainnet beta and everything will work, which it won't. Just trying. What happens? Let's see. Oh! Whoa, something is coming back here. That is... Wait, no, undefined is coming back here. Okay, we're probably logging something else. What are we logging? Oh yeah, we're logging some other stuff. Let's see, what is this? Oh, an error. The pay is this and then error, get address info not found. So this host name doesn't exist. Okay, how about the normal one? We use a normal RPC URL as I would use for mainnet. 403 forbidden. Aha, so get asset is forbidden. Okay, that makes sense. Not allowed here. Okay, so we need to find a goddamn RPC provider that allows it. Let's try my Helios RPC. Invalid API key. Are you kidding me? Twitter. Read-API.metaplex.com. Jonas comes to save the day. We can do this. Let's go. Read API from Metaplex. That looks good. We have some drip. Nice. Score. That's what we want. Finally. So with the RPC URL of read-API.metaplex.com. Thanks a lot, Jonas. With this URL, we can just put that in the connection wrapper and then request an RPC asset by connection wrapper get asset. And all that get asset does, look at that, is to do a HTTP post request on get asset on that URL and then return the data from it. And that stuff gives us this entire thing. Let's have a look. We have interface v1 NFT. Okay, that's the ID, so that's the asset ID. And the content, so that's the actual data, I guess. This is the JSON URL or URI. And if we go there, that will then be just the JSON file, which then contains also all the stuff, the regular NFT metadata that we know. And if we then go to the image inside there will be the actual image that we saw, and then we'll also find the 3D stuff somewhere, the model that we find here. That's usual NFT metadata as we know it, right? So that is that. We have a description and the name that we also saw in the wallet in Phantom already, an array of attributes. And then we have more metadata like the authority address and the compression. Compressed is true, so it is in a Merkle tree, it is a compressed NFT, and the data hash is this, the creator hash, the asset hash. So the asset hash, I assume, is the hash of the asset ID or something like that, or some way they are connected. That is the tree, the A6. We've also seen this when we checked out the mint instruction. Here the Merkle tree is the A6. Yeah, we've seen this before. Cool. And then we have a group key collection. That kind of makes sense. And that's the actual collection. So Drip 2, Season 2 of Drip. It's the first drop of Season 2 of Drip. The first drip drop in Season 2. And we have the creators. And the owner is also in here. That's also important. I am the owner, solandy.sol. That's my address. There's no delegate. Yeah, cool stuff. And it's mutable. That's all the kind of the metadata as we know it from the metadata account. Just that it's not in the account because it's not in the state. It's in the ledger. And an indexer like the one from Metaplex, the Metaplex RPC. This handles all the reading for us. So it has that data stored somewhere such that we can quickly query it. Yeah. We can read our compressed NFTs. Score. That's all I wanted to do today. I'm happy with that. Great time as well to stop. And we can also try out another thing. If we wouldn't have our asset ID, but we just have the owner, then I could do, instead of get asset, I could say get assets by owner. There it still says asset ID, but I think it means the owner. So apparently I need to provide more. What are my options here? I guess I need to read the Helium. You have documentation on this. I'm just gonna copy that part. What else do you need? 100 page 0 before. I have no idea what the hell. Let's see what that gives back, if that gives us anything. Oh yeah, a lot of data actually. Nice. So that seemed to be all my NFTs. The ID, those seem to be regular NFTs. So it gives me all the NFTs, but I don't want compression.compressed, I think was the flag. Damn it, can't be so hard. So we have a total, and then we have paging, and then we have items, and that's a list. Items. Try that again. We'll get there. We're just trying to read all my NFT data. Oh, did I... Wait. Did I do an in instead of off again? This is such classic. Classic, I'm using way too many languages. In some languages it's off. In some languages it's in what I want. That's looking better now. Thank you. Let's just lock the IDs. There we have all the IDs. And one of them, see, that's all my NFTs. And one of all of them, this one, is compressed. Nice. So all of those are normal NFTs, and this one is the compressed one. And we saw that we can get that with the asset ID. But the asset ID, if I go with my asset ID on the Explorer, nothing is there, right? Also here, just an empty account. But that's like the thing representing my NFT, right? But I need such an indexer to actually find my information. All a bit complicated. Okay, I think that's enough. I think I want to wrap it there. I hope that you learned something about the Metaplex compressed NFT standard and what the difference between state and ledger is. Because in case you forgot, let me remind you, don't.
Put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger.
Yeah. And then once you put it in the ledger, you can go watch those videos, subscribe, like the video, and then I will see you in the next one, where we'll actually talk about minting compressed NFTs. Because there's also the code for that is already here. We just need to get it to work. And I don't want to just, run code that I don't understand. So I'll do a bit more research until next time. And then I'll come back with a video on compressed NFTs and how to mint them. Till then.
Yep, let me let you. Yep, put it in the ledger. Put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger. Don't put it in the state, just put it in the ledger.